The number one question I ask people whenever somebody tells you they're rich, the number one question is the question I ask you. The number one question I asked you was, well, when we started, I said, how do you make your money? What do you do? And you said, TV. I worked on some big films. I ended up doing advertising in 2000, and I think you said 11.
Yeah, 11.
And, you know, I got into advertising. I did some big companies. I did some local companies. Great. So in my mind, you're an advertiser, and then you're a good interviewer. You're curious. You ask the right question. You got a channel that's soon to be over 1 million subs, on your way to 10 million subscribers, right? Okay, great. But I went to how did you make your money? The number one question a lot of these online gurus that you call them, when you ask them, how do you make your money? They don't have an answer to that question. The way they made their money is
selling courses.
Selling courses. So by the way, and if they open up and say that, then that's okay. Meaning if you say, how'd you make your money? I made my money selling courses. Okay, cool. You know, it's versus how'd you make your money? Well, I made my money because I did a real estate deal and I sold this real estate deal for $28 million. How do we know you sold it for $28 million? How do we not know your share is only $50,000? But the story is $28 million. For example, I bought a hotel here for $36 million. Okay. Do you know how much of an owner I was on that $36 million hotel we bought?
You didn't buy it with Grant Cardone, did you?
No. I bought it with my so I bought a hotel here for $36 million. Okay. But do you know how much of that hotel I owned?
How much?
Less than 1%. So when people said, how much, I said, buddy, I don't own the hotel. I just am one of the investors in this hotel. A very small percentage, they said, hey, you want to put some money into it? You know, here's 50 grand, here's 100 grand. But you can spin it and say, I have a, so a lot of that is on the marketing side. And look, and nobody nowadays walks on water. So if anybody wants to go out there and say, oh, I'm holy, I don't do anything wrong. Sometimes you got to be careful because if you play the card of I'm holy and I'm an angel and, you know, I don't do anything wrong, that can also backfire on you. This is why for me being married, I tell you what my wife and I say to each other, I'll say it all the time. When we got married, people asked me a question. They said, oh my gosh, you know, at my wedding, there were people on one side. It was all the hairy Middle Eastern folks, you know, who look like me. They're all the same. They look the same. And then on the other side is all the good looking, blue-eyed, green-eyed people like yourself, my wife's family, right? They're all, you know, so they're standing on one side, they're all standing on one side and they look at each other. No one's dancing. It's a big wedding. We got 450 people there at this wedding. Then one of my friends gets up. He is hammered. He's so hammered, it's not even funny. He's so hammered, his wife's next to him. He's flirting with other people's wives. He's that hammered right there. He's that gone, okay? And he's the kind of guy you want to party with because in a different career, he could have been Vince Vaughn from Wedding Crashers, okay? He's like that kind of a personality. He's trying to give you a visual, good-looking guy. He gets up. He says, look, I'm not going to lie. You guys seem very concerned about this, you know, wedding, whether this is going to work out or not. I am in the same place. I don't have a clue whether this is going to work. He's one of my groomsmen. He says, but I finally figured out what Jennifer and Patrick have in common. Jennifer's from Texas. Patrick's from Iran. He says, look, both of these guys like weapons of mass destruction and they like oil. I think this is going to work out, right? Everybody starts laughing, cracking up. Then they started dancing. I'm giving my final speech and I said, well, listen, a lot of you guys are wondering whether this thing is going to work out or not. You know, there's some Vegas odds right now, whether it is or not. All I can tell you is this. I know one thing for a fact. I know for a fact we can be married for 1 year. We're going to take it 1 year at a time. So we went 1 year, 2 years. Now we've been married for 11 years. I'm not going to put the pressure of, we're going to be together forever. Why would you do that? You don't know what happens tomorrow. So, you know, sometimes these online folks that play the holy card, it's one of the reasons why I was an atheist for 25 years, because I grew up in a church that people get up and talk about God and how perfect they are. And next thing you know, they're the ones that are judging you that end up doing the things that they judged you on. And you're sitting there saying, listen, man, this is exactly why I don't want to go to church. But then you eventually find a community where they say, I'm here because I'm also screwed up. I don't want to go to church and you remind me that I'm going to hell. I know I'm going to hell. I just want to know I got a spot in heaven. You know, that kind of like that mindset of going to a place. So I do believe there's a great place for guys like this that are doing what they're doing, because there are a lot of people online that they simply made their money selling their courses online, and they should just come out and say, here's how I made my money. I made my money selling courses.
Right. But the thing is about it, if they said that, they probably wouldn't sell nearly as many courses. And those people
You're right.
They want to make money. That's why they're in it. That's why they're doing what they're doing. And they need to sell those quickly. And there's also a lot of people. I just did an interview with a guy recently who his name's, have you ever heard of him? His name's CoffeeZilla.
I have not.
So basically he exposes quote unquote fake gurus, and he exposes people who go online and basically try to create or falsify a persona of them having extreme wealth, like having Ferraris in the backgrounds of their shots or whatever. And then essentially all they're trying to do is to sell like courses, online courses, where they can, you know, get vulnerable people with little to no money who have hit rock bottom, who they need to find. They're looking for some sort of light to bring them out of the darkness. And they find these guys with these flashy cars, these big watches, find out how I make $5,000 a day on Amazon. And it's super interesting. And there's a huge culture of people like that on YouTube.
I mean, he's got a couple 100,000 subscribers. If it's working for him, look, in the world, some people want to be lawyers, right?
Yeah.
What's a lawyer? A lawyer sits there and tries to defend their client, but at the same time expose you if they're going up against you. That's their job. So to you, this person's lawyer is annoying because they're exposing you, right? But there is a need for lawyers. As much as we hate lawyers, there's a need for lawyers, right? Okay. Cops, you can't stand a cop when he's pulling you over, and it's annoying, you know, especially if the cop is a little bit of a arrogant prick and he thinks he's got the badge, he can kind of push you around. But look, if you're going out, the other day I got pulled over by this cop. He pulls me over. I said, what'd you pull me over? He says, what did I pull you over for? I said, what'd you pull me over for? He says, first of all, you made a U-turn. You didn't put the turn signal. You were drifting the car. Then you went and passed a red light and you were speeding and you were about to race the guy next to you. And you're lucky I don't have a gun on me. I can give you 6 tickets right now. I said, you know what? You're right. I do deserve all this stuff, right? So he comes back. He says, look, just the fact that you were chill, I'm giving you 1 ticket. I said, cool. Thank you. We had a great 15-minute conversation. I left, right? There is a place for guys like that. There is a place for guys like that. You know, when I was in LA, there was a
for the cop.
No, for this guy with CoffeeZilla, what you're telling me.
Oh, right. Yeah, absolutely.
There is a place for people like that where they go and say, hey, look, I'm going to expose. Now, he may be right or wrong, but he's going to expose and let the audience make a decision for themselves on what they want to do, because you are right. There are a lot of people online right now where anybody can go out there and say, I'm worth $500 million. People are going to believe it. This is why, you know, it's so interesting you bring him up.